Brought to you by Create 2 Media. It's the Father-Son Talk Sports Show. Here's your host, Paulie C.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Father-Son Talk Sports Show. My name is Paul, here with Dad to me, Paul to you.
Hey.
So what we want to do is we want to, as always, Dad, bring you a jam-packed show. We love to reach out to our fans and listeners. We are tinkering with some new technology, right, Dad?
Yes, we're trying to bring you a different perspective. We're trying to add video to this experience. So please bear with us as we go through this.
Yeah.
We just want to bring you the best product that we possibly can, and moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, and really at the core of our show is just having fun. We love to come together, obviously, as a father and son, to be able to talk about sports and to be able to bring it to you guys in ways and keep it fresh. So this is definitely something that we enjoy, and we want to share our love of sports with the world and with you guys, and we appreciate you guys for joining us. So Dad, in other words, we were watching something on TV. I believe it was the memorial for Kobe and Gianna, and at Staples Center, and I think that was definitely something that was tough, man.
And Pablo, that was tough, man. It was done very tastefully. The performers were excellent. It was just touching from so many perspectives. To be able to eulogize, for the mother to eulogize her husband and her daughter that she lost, I thought was incredibly incredible, and it was she showed a lot of courage, and God bless her and her family going forward, and it was special. So yeah. Kobe and Gianna, rest in heaven.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And here I double that sentiment. I believe that everything was done top notch, and you could just tell the impact that Kobe had on the sports world, on general culture, just everyone. Everyone felt connected to Kobe, even though most people didn't know him well. I think that you said you were surprised by how well or how tight Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant were. That kind of surprised you, and I think that we all can take away something from this, and it's just to let your loved ones know that you love them. Let them know that you care about them.
Make sure that you tell them that if you can daily, because you never know when the end is going to come.
Nah.
And it's really important in life to allow your loved ones to be loved and to know that they are.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what life's all about.
Amen.
I remember reading about, it's not about what you do while you're alive. It's about how what you do while you're alive affects how you're remembered. And just think about this and think about the impact that he had. I mean, everything that he did while he was here, as he was starting his second chapter, it really impacted the world. I mean, it impacted everyone. That's the reason why the outpour is so great. That's the reason why the love is so great. And these great athletes are
they're human beings too.
Yeah, they're human.
They're humans, man, and they have their own pains and their own shortcomings and their own story.
Yeah. And Kobe emboldened me to, like I said before on our previous shows, to be bold about our show, to be bold about everything that we do, because that's what Kobe would do. Yeah, Kobe,
and to go forward.
Yeah, that mentality is real.
And that mentality is real.
Yeah. Everybody don't have it.
No, everyone doesn't. And like I said before, Kobe Bryant, that whole memorial was wonderful. Alicia Keys, her rendition of the song that she did, and Beyonce, and all the speakers. It was just wonderful. And like I said, God bless them, and may they rest in heaven.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, because I know that's very tough. It's just tough for me to sit here and think about it. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come right back with some Browns talking about what they need to do in the draft to be able to help their chances in 2020. Be right back. Welcome back to the Father Son Talk Sports Show. Dad, so I know we talked a little bit about what the Browns need to do going forward to really take that leap that we thought they were going to take last year, but we really need them to take it this year because we're thirsty for the playoffs, man. We're thirsty for football in January, meaningful games. And what do the Browns have to do in order to deliver that to us as fans in 2020 through the draft and also through strategy?
Pablo, I think it might be better for us to take this in twofold. This week we'll look at the offense, some of the shortcomings from last year, some of the ways that we think that it can be fixed. And next week we'll concentrate on defense to strengthen some of the things that like our run defense or our shortcomings defensively last year, but we want to go ahead and concentrate on the offensive side of the ball. So let me ask you this question. What do you think some of the deficiencies were?
Well, I believe that the number one deficiency, the deficiency last year was Freddie Kitchens. I mean, I think with that, everyone would agree that he was way in over his head. His strategy sucked. His play calling sucked. He sucked. I mean, he was a terrible coach. And I honestly feel like...
Yeah, you do honestly feel, don't you?
Yeah. He was extremely detrimental to our franchise quarterback because I still consider him to be our franchise quarterback. But he made him look like an absolute fool last year. He put him in positions where he couldn't be successful. They got away from game plans that were put together mid-game. I just don't understand. There was no halftime adjustments. So I just don't understand how we expect for these guys to go out professionally and try to win games when the head coach can't even draw up a plan for success.
Oh, it's more than that to me. I mean, clock management. He had so many clock management issues that it was pathetic. Play calling. I mean, I've seen screenplays and him trying to trick the opposing defense, and the Browns team didn't never have to trick anyone.
So Dad, let me check on you.
It was terrible.
Can you trick professionals?
Come on, you shouldn't be able to.
They're professionals, right?
You shouldn't be able to. You shouldn't have to either.
Yeah.
I mean, Baker Mayfield, one of his strengths, especially coming out of college, was that he could take the game plan and take it to the field. I think that was one of the strengths that he had coming out of Oklahoma. I remember him beating my beloved Buckeyes, and they script the offense wonderfully. I remember them, all the short passes to the tight end, all the short passes to the wide receivers. They had everything scripted, and he was difficult to stop. That's why he won the Heisman Trophy. That's why they went to the college football playoffs.
That's why we picked him number one.
That's why we picked him number one. Mm-hmm. Well, a step back is to say the least that was taken last year. And going forward, I'm just glad that Kitchens is not a part of that equation, because I really think that he did a poor job preparing Baker Mayfield last season.
Yeah, I mean, in here, as a passionate fan, as a passionate you're a passionate supporter. You just feel for the guys. I remember, late in the year, I used to be able to feel the frustration of Jarvis Landry and Odell. It was palpable. It was real. It was real. I mean, it was real. I mean, I would show frustration if I knew that my leader was not taking me to the promised land. I mean, what type of hope do you have to go out there and put your body on the line? And I can speak to the injury that Odell played with last year. It's a debilitating injury. I mean, right. I run marathons, just so everyone knows. And right now I'm dealing with a sports hernia that I'm trying to train through. But guess what? You can't train through a sports hernia. You have to get surgery. And then you have to get it fixed.
Right. And professional athletes or serious athletes, they're the mindset that they can work themselves through injuries.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, that's not an injury that you can work yourself through.
Yeah, I give Odell a lot of credit. Yeah, I
care
give him
of.
a lot of credit because he was able to. I remember when he ran that short pass that you just talked about to the end zone on Monday
then
night.
if you realize that play was on time,
Yep,
it was scripted,
and he ran,
but you could still tell that he wasn't 100%.
Exactly, but he still ran over 20 miles per hour. So right now, Dad, if I went outside, I can't sprint. If I wanted to sprint, I can't sprint. Remember the doctor
you could
told
do
me,
yourself more harm than anything else if you do that.
If you sprint all out, so I know, that's what I'm saying. I know how tough it was. And I'm not just saying that because I'm wearing an Odell jersey right now. He showed a lot of toughness last year just to be able to play with a sports hernia. That's no joke.
And it's no joke. And it's one thing that's true, too. Professional football players have got to learn to play through pain, and common injuries especially. But when your core is messed up, you have a sports hernia, you got to get that medically taken care of.
You told me to fix it, and I was like, oh no, I can
right.
turn around.
You gave every excuse known to man.
What happened is that I went out on the trail and I ran 6 miles. Then I came back. I was like, I feel it still. So it didn't get better. It in time doesn't heal it. That's why when Kareem Hunt was down last year with his suspension, he was able to get his core right. Then when he came back, he was ready to go because it's an outpatient surgery. It's not like you're going to be in there for a month. Your outpatient surgery, 2 weeks recovery, 2 weeks to get back to regular activities. So you'll be back in 4 weeks.
Right.
So it's not the end of the world. It's probably something that they should have took care of last year and shut him down for 4 weeks and 5 weeks to get back a full Odell, because you don't really know what we missed last year by having that debilitating injury.
Well, and then, like I said before, the plays that were called, the ineptitude from the coach.
That didn't help either.
No, it didn't help at all. And he was not in a position where he was going to be able to showcase his abilities last year, period. Jarvis Landry is another player. He just had surgery on his hip flexor, which is a common injury in football, and he should be 100% going into training camp. But that's an issue that he was dealing with last year. But with all that being said, going forward, I happen to think that our offensive line should be a point of emphasis in the draft. I think that last year we had 2 tackles, Hubbard on the right side and Robinson on the left side, that I felt was below average. They let our team down in some ways. If you can remember, I can remember vividly Baker Mayfield going back a 3 or 5 step drop, trying to get a short pass off, and they would be batted in his face because of the pressure that the defense was getting on them and getting in his face. My opinion is that the offensive line and improvement there is the first thing, or the most important thing we should be looking at going into the draft, period. Drafting 2 offensive linemen, preferably right tackle or left tackle, so the young guys can get groomed where they are athletic, can make some of those blocks, and give him a little bit more time. You would be surprised on what 1 second means to an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, but here, contrary to that, is that NFL quarterbacks, they don't get perfect protection. I'm not saying this to be detrimental to Baker. I'm saying that everything's not perfect, okay? And so what I mean by that is when it's a 3-step drop, the ball got to be out. You don't get 3 steps and scan in the field. You got to get 3 steps, make the right read, get the ball out of your hands, and make it. If it's a 5-step drop, 5-step drop, ball out. You see what I'm saying? Too many times did I see 3-step drop, flush to the right, try to improvise. Number 1, he's not fast enough. Number 2, he's not gifted enough outside of the pocket to be able to make those plays.
Pablo, every quarterback has their strengths and their weaknesses, and Baker's, one of his strengths is to be able to ad-lib to a certain degree. I believe last year sometime he got antsy. his feet
for nothing though. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
right.
There was too many times last year he thought he saw pressure and pressure really wasn't there.
Exactly. He got antsy. I mean, he started dancing in the pocket.
Exactly. And when you got that, you can't really truly evaluate your offensive line because remember I told you, Pro Football Focus did not say you had a terrible offensive line last year. If you look at them, they said that you were about middle of the road, pass blocking and run blocking. So it wasn't like you had the worst offensive line in the world last year. I'm talking about compared to what the experts said. So I get it, and I do want a left tackle. That's one of the most coveted positions on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, right. The offensive line, first of all, I mean, it's like looking at it analytically, and I'm not even going to get into the discussion about analytics with you, right?
Don't even say it.
Right. No, from my viewpoint, they were not mauling people in the run game last year.
Not mauling them.
And they were not protecting above average last year. And I don't care what statistics say. I looked at it myself.
He wasn't able to be a statue. He could not be a statue back then.
Well,
but most quarterbacks didn't have statue play. Patrick Mahomes could not be a statue.
But when you mix an ineptitude at tackle, along with the inexperience
of Freddie Kitchens,
of Baker Mayfield, on top of the play calling of Freddie Kitchens,
you got a bad recipe.
You got what, 7-9? Was that?
Yeah.
It was 7-9.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Right, it's pretty bad. It was a step backwards.
But all I'm saying is that I think that with Stefanski coming in, that you're able to, because if you look at what he did with Cousins and you look at what he did with Cook, he was able to use the play action pass in a devastating way in Minnesota. And I think that our play action pass, especially, I hope we did put the tender on Kareem Hunt.
No, we did.
Need to keep him.
Well, he's a restricted free agent, which means that we have the right to match any offer that he gets. So it would be safe to say that he'll be a Cleveland Brown next year.
So if we got both of those players on the field,
right,
and they should play, in my opinion, on the field more together, because I mean, why would you eliminate the threat of a run with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt? I don't understand. You should always have the threat of a run. That just helps out your quarterback.
Well, it's playing to your strengths too.
Yeah.
There were formations last year that the Browns got in where they took away the possibility to run. What I mean is they wouldn't even have a running back in the backfield. And we're talking about on second down.
It should be no empty.
And it shouldn't be an empty backfield on second down. No. Play action passes for right. That should have been a staple of our offense, and it wasn't. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's just absolutely ludicrous. The Browns last year had a lot of problems on offense. There were times where the receivers would freelance a little bit too much.
But I think we got our hand on it there. I think that you have a situation where the coach can come in and really change this thing around.
Well, see, that's what this question was too. Is what kind of changes can be made to shore up the offense to make it more productive?
Strategy. I think it's more strategy because I think that if Stefanski comes in and gets us in the right place, I'm talking about put the players in a position to be successful, make the plays that Baker can be successful at, because that's all Baltimore did. I'm not trying to minimize the play of Lamar Jackson here. It was phenomenal, but at the same time, John Harbaugh took a step back and he said, "You know what? This is what this kid do."
And he allowed for them to RPO them to death.
Yeah,
that's what he did. He said, "Listen, run pass option.
Just keep doing it
all day,
and
all night. They're not going to be able to stop it. You have wide open throws. You have the most wide open throws in the NFL.
Exactly.
And that's what I mean by coaching to the strengths of your players. Mm-hmm. The Browns, of course, we just had a complete coaching staff turnover. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they can get it correct. From every indication that I have, the way that Cousins was utilized in Minnesota and Dalvin Cook, mm-hmm. where the play action pass meant a lot. That was a staple of their offense. I believe that could be powerful here in Cleveland.
And I second that. And what we're going to do is we're going to look a little bit deeper. Like you said, we're going to look at the defensive side of the ball next week.
Right.
You know, we're going to go into that and we're going to look at the prospects. But here, obviously, I think you want to have the draft this year go towards offensive tackle. You want to really address the offensive line. So who are you targeting right now that the Browns can put on their big board that can help us in 2020 right away?
In college right now, you have several tackles that are worthy of the number 10 pick. You have Andrew Thomas out of Georgia. He's 6'5", 320 pounds, really athletic, 3-year starter. He's an excellent run blocker as well as a pass blocker. I believe that you can put him on the right or the left side, and you should be able to have your the tackle that you need for the next coming 10 years. We're not asking him or none of them to be Joe Thomas, but we just want that player to be competent and to be able to alleviate some of the pressure and to make our running game strong.
So here,
he would be one on my board.
I get that. Now, what do you think about trading down? And I know that Cleveland fans, obviously, you don't want to hear about trading down. But do you think that it's an advantage this year to be able to trade down, or if they identify something above them, to trade up to get it? Do you see any of those possibilities as a possibility?
Well, see, in my eyes, I don't think that trading up is necessary in order for us to get the offensive line that we need, or the line, the line help. Mm-hmm. Going down to get more bodies, to have more picks, I believe that this draft has enough offensive linemen in it, both tackles and guards, where you might be able to do that, get an additional second-round pick or a later first-round pick, and still make 2 quality picks that could improve our offensive line.
Yeah.
I see.
I mean, it's a lot of players out there that I think this draft, I kind of equate this to not having the top end talent, but it has a wide girth of talent.
Well, one of the great things going forward this year as far as the draft is that instead of us just having to take the best player available regardless of position, you can go ahead and isolate certain positions and certain needs on the team and try to fill those. Before the Browns, before Mayfield, before this improvement that took place, of course it was slightly set back last year, the talent on the team, you had to take the best player available regardless to what position he plays. Mm-hmm. Well, this year, we don't have to do that. Mm-hmm. So I believe the offensive line, and this is from a defensive and an offensive perspective, should be the number one priority on the team. Yeah. And that means if you utilize the first round pick for it, or the first and the second round pick for it, I don't have a problem with that.
I definitely hear. I second that. I know that we need line on the help on the line.
Right.
You definitely need help on the offensive line. That's something that we need desperately, and you could see it last year that you were probably a couple of solid starters away. I mean, here I make it a combination of things. You still got Mayfield has to play better. He simply has to play better.
But the core of every team, Pablo, is each line of scrimmage, defensively and offensively. It's the core. It's the fabric.
It allows for the other components that make you successful to be able to flow. See, you can have the greatest quarterback ever and don't have an offensive line, and you won't have anything.
Well, you just said it in a different way, but we're saying the same thing.
Well, maybe saying the same thing, but what I'm saying is that the offensive line is important. I'm not minimizing that anyway. So if they definitely address that in the first and second round this year, I can't be mad at them. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna transition over to the NBA. And get into some of that talk, because I know that there's some big things going on right now. Even with the Cavs, we might have an emerging star. So here, I want you guys to hang with us. We'll be right back, and we'll go into that next. Welcome back to the Father-Son Talk Sports Show. So, Dad, I know this is an exciting time of year for you because I know you love the game. Now the NBA is in full swing. You know that, coming off a hype All-Star weekend. I think that we was getting into the Cavs, and the Cavs were actually showing improvement under JB Bickerstaff, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I think they're playing a little bit better ball, and I think that they had a big comeback against the Heat. They were down 20 plus points, and KPJ, Kevin Porter Jr., was able to, to really kind of show up and show out.
He did. He had a wonderful game, and I got to give you credit. Let me get this out the way now. I remember, Pablo, you basically said that Kevin Porter Jr. was the future of this team, that however he ascended or descended, he took the franchise right along with it. So you're right. I believe that Kevin Porter has showed magnificent gains in this game. His defense is better. His offense is better and is coming around. You can tell his confidence is on the rise. And you're right.
Yeah, well, here, it's okay. I mean, ultimately, yeah. I mean, I think with the Cavs, there's not many selections for people who could be transformative on the team. I mean, you look around, you got a lot of undersized players. I think Kevin Love wants to move on. I think that Tristan wants to move on because I think they can kind of see the writing on the wall that they're not going to be competing for anything real for a couple of years. But I love to watch the development of Kevin Porter. And to be able to see, that's what I really got out of LeBron the first time back in 2003 when he was drafted. I love to see the team go through those growing pains, and for him to be able to become the player that he is today.
Right, and most fans they don't appreciate going from the starting point that we are right now with a lot of young players and going forward and developing those players.